in this video, we're covering compound interest. So most investments earn compound interest. So with compound interest, the interest earned after one time period is then added back to the principal so that in the next time period, the interest that's calculated is on that larger principal and therefore you make more interest. So this is how this is how most investments work, is compound. We rarely use simple for this kind of thing. Compound is the most common one. So there is a compound interest formula, and it's A equals P, bracket 1 plus R, close bracket, to the power of N, where A is the total amount of the investment, P is the principal, R is the rate of interest per compounding period, and then N is the number of compounding periods. So that's a lot of information, so I've got to do an example and you can see what I mean. So the first thing, again, that I always like to do is write down my formula. And then I need to list or identify what each part is. So that's my P, there's my R, and there's my N. So before I move on, I just want to double check everything is in years. PA is per annum, and that is years, and then this is in years. So it's good, there's no changes to any of the numbers we have. We can just stick it straight into the formula. So we get 6,500, 1 plus, now it's 7%, but we need it as a decimal, so we divide it by 100, or if you can remember this, if the percentage is less than 10%, it's going to have 2 zeros, right? If it's, let's say, 11%, it only has 1 zero, so it'll be 1, 1. So if I had 12%, that's bigger than 10, so it's 1 0, so it's 0.12. If I had 6.2%, it's less than 10, so it's going to be 0.062. All right, that's an easy trick to remember how to do your conversions to decimals, because we need to use decimals in this. All right, and it's to the power of 6, so now we can just put it straight into the calculator, and we get 9,754 and 75 cents. All right. Now that there is how much the new value is worth, like what it is. Now, if it did tell you to find how much interest it made, so if I wanted to find the interest, that's going to be my final minus that. So it'll be 9,754.75, take away 6,500, and that equals 3,254 and 75 cents. Oh, not percentage, we want dollar sign. Alright, so if it tells you how much interest has been made, you need to do that extra step. But if it just says final amount like it did in this question here, you can just stop at this part here. Alright. So now we have another one. I'm going to write the formula again. A equals P, bracket 1 plus R to the power of N. So here's my investment, here's my rate. Now it's 5 years, but it's compounded monthly. So that's key. So that means we need to modify our N and our percentage. All right. So we can start by putting in the same numbers in. So 10,000 stays the same. I can put in 1 plus my rate, which is 0.06 as a decimal. But this time, because it's compounded monthly, I need to divide that by 12. All right. Now, once I've done that, I've got my time, which is 5. But again, we need to times that by 12. So the trick here is if you're compounding monthly, you divide the rate by 12 and you multiply the time by 12. If I was doing it daily, you would divide the rate by 365 and times the years by 365. So the pattern here is you multiply the N and you divide the R. So now that I've got that, I can put it into a calculator and I end up with 13,488.510, so 50 cents. So here we have another one. So again, let's write their formula. P and R, and it's compounded quarterly. So if you forget how many quarters are there, there's 4 quarters in a year. So we need to divide our rate by 4 and times our time by 4. So we get 8,900, 1 plus my 0.04 over 4, and 2 times 4. Because this and this mean that it's quarterly. Once you get that, you can put it straight into a calculator. And we get 9,637.42. So to recap, remember, there is the formula for compound interest and it's on your screen there, but you need to make sure that your R and N are the same units. Alright, so what that means is if I'm compounding monthly, I need to convert both to monthly. And usually we do this by dividing the rate or multiplying the time. So if I was to find it monthly, we would divide by 12 for the R, but we would times by 12 over here. If it was half yearly, we'd divide by 2 and times by 2. So the pattern is you divide the rate and you times the time.